The journey of life is one of constant discovery, revelation, and growth. Yet among the many encounters and relationships we experience, not all bring forth light or blessings. Some connections, though seemingly ordinary, carry hidden dangers that can subtly and persistently undermine your purpose, your peace, and your destiny. It is of utmost importance for every person who desires to live a victorious and fulfilled life to develop spiritual discernment, the ability to see beyond the surface and recognize the forces that work in opposition to your well-being. In this light, today we address a matter of grave significance: the signs that reveal when someone in your life is not just an ordinary individual, but is operating as a witch. The word witch carries a heavy weight in our collective consciousness. It often evokes images of magic, sorcery, and manipulation, forces that are fundamentally opposed to the divine order of creation. But the reality is that witchcraft is not just about spells and potions. It is a spiritual reality, a manifestation of power used in darkness to control, deceive, and destroy. Therefore, to protect your life, your family, and your future, you must learn to recognize the spiritual indicators, the 5 signs that reveal when someone close to you is operating in witchcraft. This knowledge is not meant to breed fear, but to empower you to walk in authority, clarity, and freedom. The first sign you must observe is the presence of constant strife and chaos wherever this person is involved. Witchcraft does not bring peace. It brings confusion. Where the spirit of peace should reign, you find an atmosphere of tension, bitterness, and unresolved conflict. If you notice that someone consistently stirs up arguments, divides friendships, and creates unrest without clear reason, it is a red flag. Such behavior is not merely a personality flaw or a product of circumstance. It is the fruit of a spirit that thrives on division and disorder. Peace is a fruit of the Spirit, a natural evidence of God's presence in a person's life. When you encounter someone who seems to excel in bringing disruption, whether in your home, your workplace, or your circle of friends, it is essential to examine the source. This person often uses words as weapons, twisting truths, sowing seeds of suspicion, and turning people against one another. The atmosphere around them feels heavy, uncomfortable, and unnatural. This is a manifestation of witchcraft at work, destabilizing relationships and weakening the spiritual foundation of your life. The second sign to watch for is an unusual or unnatural control over others. True leadership is characterized by humility, service, and the empowerment of others. However, a witch exercises control through manipulation, intimidation, and subtle influence. They may appear charming and persuasive, but beneath this charm lies a controlling spirit that seeks to dominate and enslave. If you see someone in your life who is constantly pulling strings behind the scenes, dictating terms or maneuvering situations to their advantage at the expense of others, be wary. This person often masks their control under the guise of care or concern. They may claim to know what is best for you or others, but their motivation is self-centered and spiritually dark. This control is not transparent or open. It is secretive and often involves psychological or emotional manipulation. The witch's power is not derived from love or genuine concern, but from an insatiable desire to control outcomes and people. This is a dangerous sign that should not be ignored, because such control seeks to limit your freedom and thwart God's plan for your life. The third sign is a pattern of destructive behavior accompanied by an absence of remorse or repentance. We all make mistakes, and true spiritual growth involves recognizing our faults, asking forgiveness, and making efforts to change. However, when someone exhibits a repetitive pattern of harmful actions, be it lying, stealing, slandering, or sabotaging others, and shows no genuine remorse or desire to correct themselves, this is deeply concerning. This behavior reveals a hardened heart, one that is open to dark influences and close to God's transformative power. Witchcraft thrives in hearts that reject accountability and refuse the cleansing power of humility. The individual who remains unrepentant, despite clear evidence of harm, is operating from a spiritual place of darkness. Their actions are not random, but are deliberately chosen to serve a hidden agenda. This agenda is often to weaken, steal, and destroy the destinies of those around them. When you encounter such a person, recognize that their presence in your life is more than just a challenge. It is a spiritual threat. The fourth sign to discern is an unusual or secretive involvement with occult practices or forbidden knowledge. In today's world, many are attracted to spiritual or mystical things without understanding the consequences. But witchcraft is rooted in occult practices, divination, sorcery, enchantments, and invoking spirits that stand in direct opposition to the divine will. In any given opportunity to speak ill of them, we should stand in. If you discover that someone in your life is involved in tarot cards, astrology, seances, crystal healing, or any form of spirit communication outside of God's revelation, this is a strong indication of witchcraft at work. This involvement is often kept hidden because it carries shame and guilt, or because the person fears exposure. They may try to rationalize or minimize it, but the spiritual reality remains. These practices open doors to dark forces that can influence their thoughts, words, and actions, and by extension affect everyone around them. Such involvement is not harmless or neutral. It is a dangerous path that leads away from truth and light. Recognizing this sign allows you to protect yourself and others by setting boundaries and seeking spiritual cleansing. The fifth sign is the consistent presence of envy, jealousy, and the desire to steal or replicate another's blessings. Witchcraft is rooted in covetousness and bitterness. It seeks not to build but to tear down, not to bless but to curse. When someone in your life is persistently resentful of your success, your gifts, or your favor, and instead of celebrating, they attempt to undermine or imitate you, this signals the spirit of witchcraft. Such envy manifests in subtle ways, gossiping to discredit you, creating rumors, or trying to infiltrate your circle to gain access to your achievements for their own gain. This is not mere competitiveness or healthy ambition. This is a spiritual battle over what belongs to you by divine right. Witchcraft attempts to transfer blessings from one person to another through manipulation and curses. The presence of such envy and the pattern of attempting to sabotage your progress should awaken your spiritual sensitivity. You must guard your life, your gifts, and your destiny against those who operate from this spirit. To live wisely, it is not enough to know these signs. You must apply this knowledge with wisdom, discernment, and grace. Not everyone who causes strife or seeks control is a witch. But when these signs appear together consistently, it is a clear signal that a spiritual battle is underway. Your responsibility is to protect yourself and your loved ones by setting firm boundaries, speaking truth boldly, and seeking divine intervention. Spiritual authority is given to those who understand the times and the forces at work. Recognizing witchcraft is a form of spiritual intelligence, a weapon in the armor of faith. When you identify these signs, you are not called to judge or condemn, but to stand strong, to pray, and to walk in the light of truth. You must also guard your heart against bitterness or revenge, because your victory comes from love and righteousness, not hatred or fear. Moreover, understanding these signs helps you to cultivate environments of peace and blessing around you. Surround yourself with people who exhibit the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are the hallmarks of divine presence and protection. Let your life be a beacon of light that repels darkness and attracts the favor of heaven. Remember, spiritual battles are not won by mere knowledge, but by the application of wisdom and faith. When you know these 5 signs, constant chaos, controlling spirit, unrepentant destructive behavior, occult involvement, and persistent envy, you are better equipped to navigate your relationships with clarity and authority. You take steps to protect your destiny, uphold your peace, and walk in divine purpose. In this world, not everyone who smiles at you carries goodwill. Some wear masks to hide their true intentions. But with the eyes of discernment open, you can see beyond the surface and guard yourself against the hidden snares of witchcraft. The time has come to awaken to this reality, to embrace spiritual vigilance, and to walk in the power that comes from understanding the spiritual forces at work. Understanding these signs is more than a lesson, it is a spiritual awakening, a call to embrace the responsibility that comes with knowledge. Life is filled with countless relationships, and each one carries potential to build or to break, to bless or to curse, to advance your destiny or to hinder your progress. The spiritual realm intersects with the natural, and the forces at work behind the scenes shape the experiences and outcomes we face every day. To walk victoriously, you must no longer be naive or unaware. You must step into the realm of spiritual discernment, recognizing that the presence of witchcraft is a reality that affects many lives in subtle yet profound ways. This discernment is a gift and a weapon. It enables you to see beyond the mask, to hear the unspoken, and to feel the atmosphere of the Spirit. It is not about suspicion or paranoia, but about wisdom and protection. Like a farmer who understands the soil and the seasons, you learn to identify the conditions that nurture growth and those that bring decay. When you notice chaos where there should be peace, control where there should be freedom, a hardened heart where there should be repentance, secret involvement where there should be transparency, and envy where there should be joy, you must recognize these as spiritual indicators, warnings that demand action. Action begins with setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls built from fear, but fences established with wisdom to guard your life and your destiny. They protect the sacred space God has given you, the plans He has designed uniquely for you. By identifying the signs of witchcraft, you are empowered to draw lines that cannot be crossed by harmful influences. This might mean distancing yourself from toxic relationships or confronting behaviors that threaten your peace. It might require prayer, spiritual warfare, and seeking support from those who share your commitment to truth and light. But beyond boundaries, you are called to walk in love and grace. Spiritual discernment is not an invitation to judgment or hatred. Remember that everyone is on a journey, some wandering in darkness unknowingly, others intentionally resisting the light. Your role is to stand firm in your own truth while extending the compassion of one who understands the battle. True strength is expressed in love, not in condemnation. Your testimony becomes a witness of God's power to transform, heal, and restore. From everything you've experienced, from everything you ever wished to do. Restored worship. Protection is also found in cultivating a life filled with the fruits of the Spirit. Peace, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control are not merely virtues to aspire to. They are shields against the attacks of darkness. When you embody these qualities, you create an environment where witchcraft cannot thrive. Darkness flees in the presence of light. Your personal integrity and spiritual maturity become a fortress that repels the schemes of those who seek to harm you. Moreover, you must recognize the importance of aligning your life with divine principles. Witchcraft is ultimately defeated by the power of truth, righteousness, and divine authority. The truth sets you free from deception, Righteousness positions you under God's favor, and divine authority empowers you to command the forces of darkness to flee. This alignment requires daily commitment, prayer, meditation on the Word, fellowship with others of like faith, and a lifestyle that honors the Creator. When you walk in this way, you are not vulnerable. You are fortified. The spiritual realm is a battlefield, but it is not a place of fear for those who stand in the light. Every day brings new opportunities to exercise your spiritual authority by discerning the signs around you and responding with wisdom. The presence of witchcraft in your life is not an inevitability, but a challenge to rise above and to demonstrate the power of God working through you. You are called to be a light in the darkness, a voice of truth in the confusion, and a source of peace amidst the chaos. As you apply this knowledge, your life becomes a testimony of victory and a beacon of hope for others. You inspire those around you to seek truth and to reject the forces that seek to destroy. Your discernment protects not only you, but also your family, your community, and future generations. This is the legacy of those who refuse to be deceived, who refuse to be defeated, and who choose to walk in the fullness of God's purpose. At the heart of this understanding is a profound truth. Every person has the power to choose their path and the influence they allow in their life. While witchcraft may seek to operate in secrecy and manipulation, your light shines openly and boldly. You are equipped with spiritual eyes to see beyond the veil, ears to hear the subtle warnings, and a heart anchored in divine wisdom. This equips you to not only recognize but also to overcome the hidden forces that work against you. Even by dim light, you will not require telescopes. You will not require clinicalities. You will not only recognize but also to overcome the hidden forces that work against you. The journey ahead is not always easy. It requires vigilance, courage, and perseverance. But you are not alone. The same power that created the heavens and the earth resides within you, empowering you to stand firm against the enemy's tactics. Every step taken in faith, every act of obedience, and every declaration of truth strengthens your position. The signs you have learned to recognize are not just markers of danger, but invitations to deeper faith and greater authority. Take comfort in knowing that the light will always overcome darkness. The forces of witchcraft, no matter how clever or persistent, cannot withstand the power of a life fully surrendered to divine truth. Your commitment to discernment and righteousness is a declaration that you refuse to be a victim or a casualty of spiritual deception. Instead, you claim your birthright of victory, peace, and blessing. In the final analysis, the recognition of these 5 signs is a vital step on the path to spiritual maturity. It is the foundation for walking in confidence, peace, and purpose. It arms you with the understanding necessary to navigate relationships wisely and to maintain an environment where your God-given potential can flourish. This knowledge turns fear into faith and confusion into clarity. You are called to be a person who sees clearly, who acts wisely, and who loves deeply. This combination is your greatest defense and your most powerful testimony. As you walk in this truth, your life will be a fortress, your relationships will be fortified, and your destiny will be secured. May you embrace this understanding with courage and walk boldly in the authority granted to you.